In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He separated light from darkness, calling it day and night. This was the first day. God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." He made the expanse, calling it heaven. This was the second day. God gathered the waters, letting dry land appear, which he called earth, and the waters seas. Then God commanded the earth to bring forth grass, plants, and fruit trees. This was the third day. God made lights in the heavens to separate day from night, the greater light for day, the lesser for night, and the stars. This was the fourth day. God commanded the waters to teem with living creatures and birds to fly. He created great sea creatures and every winged bird. This was the fifth day. God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures, livestock, creeping things, and beasts." And it was so. God made them all. God said, "Let us make man in our image." So he created mankind, male and female, in his own image. He blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." God saw all he had made, and it was very good. This was the sixth day. On the seventh day, God rested from all his work. In the beginning was God, and by his word, everything came to be.
Before time began, there was only God. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. From his word came the earth, the sky, the seas, and all living things. Then God formed man from the dust and breathed into him the breath of life. But where there is light, the shadow follows. Judgment came like a flood, yet mercy remained like a rainbow. God called a man, and from him, a nation, a promise that would echo through eternity. Dreams, betrayal, deliverance, every story preparing the way for redemption. In the beginning, God spoke, and everything changed. Genesis, the beginning of everything.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their host. On the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, a place of beauty, life, and peace. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. In the midst of the garden were two trees, the tree of life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field. He said to the woman, "Did God really say, 'You shall not eat of every tree of the garden'?" And the woman said, "We may eat of the fruit of the trees, but of the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden, God has said, 'You shall not eat it.'" When the woman saw that the fruit was pleasant to the eyes and desirable to make one wise, she took of it and ate, and also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both were opened, and they knew they were naked. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves. Then the Lord God called to Adam, "Where are you?" And he said, "What is this you have done?" The man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." So he drove out the man, and he placed cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. Yet even as they left the garden, a promise remained, that one day a seed would crush the serpent's head. From the dust he formed us. From his love he gave us choice. And from that choice began the story of redemption.
Adam and Eve bore two sons, Cain, a tiller of the ground, and Abel, a keeper of sheep. In the course of time, each brought an offering to the Lord, Cain from the fruit of the soil, Abel from the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. And the Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door, its desire is for you, but you must rule over it." Then Cain spoke to his brother Abel, and when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother and killed him. The earth trembled. Innocent blood touched the ground for the first time. And the Lord said, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" The Lord said, "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood." Cain said, "My punishment is greater than I can bear." But the Lord said, "Whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken sevenfold." And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, not of wrath, but of mercy. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she bore Enoch. And Cain built a city and named it after his son. His descendants became workers of bronze and iron, makers of music and tools, yet the shadow of violence lingered. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. "For God has appointed another seed instead of Abel," she said. Then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. This is the book of the generations of Adam. Adam lived and begot sons and daughters, and his line continued through Seth. From Adam to Enosh, from Canaan to Mahalalel, life multiplied across the earth. Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more, for God took him. Even in a world of death, life with God was still possible. Lamech became the father of a son and called his name Noah, saying, "This one will comfort us from the toil of our hands, from the ground which the Lord has cursed." Hope was born again, for the same God who judged was still preparing salvation. From the blood of Abel to the birth of Noah, the story of mercy continued. Genesis 4-5, the first blood and the line of life.
The earth was corrupt before God, a world consumed by darkness and despair. It was filled with violence, a constant struggle echoing through every corner of creation. God looked upon the earth, and behold, all flesh had corrupted its way, turning from his divine path. The Lord's heart was grieved by the wickedness that had spread across the land, a profound sorrow for his creation. And the Lord said to Noah, a righteous man amidst a fallen world, his voice resonating with both judgment and a glimmer of hope. "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence, and its corruption is complete. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth, cleansing it of the pervasive evil that has taken root." Then came the divine instruction, a blueprint for salvation in a world destined for destruction. "Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, a vessel of hope against the coming deluge. Rooms you shall make in the ark, carefully designed spaces for all who will enter, and cover it inside and out with pitch, sealing it against the mighty waters. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50, its height 30, a monumental structure of salvation. And behold, I will bring floodwaters upon the earth to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life, a judgment upon the corrupted world. But with you, Noah, I will establish my covenant, an unbreakable promise of preservation. And you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you, a family chosen for a new beginning." And Noah was a righteous man, blameless among his generation, a beacon of integrity in a world adrift. He walked with God, his life a testament to unwavering faith and obedience. And Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the future generations of humanity. Their wives were diligently preparing supplies, working together with a shared vision for survival. Hope and unity radiated from their faces, a collective spirit ready to face the unknown. Through them, the promise of life would continue, a new chapter for humanity unfolding. This family, guided by faith, became the foundation for a renewed world, a testament to God's enduring grace and covenant.
After 7 days, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. On that day, the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. The rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. The waters rose higher and higher, covering the mountains, and all flesh perished that moved upon the earth. Only Noah remained, and those with him in the ark. The waters prevailed for 150 days. Yet amid the storm, the ark floated, held by unseen hands. And God remembered Noah and every living thing within the ark. The fountains of the deep were closed, and the rain from heaven was restrained. The waters receded steadily until the ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. Noah opened the window of the ark and sent forth a raven, but it found no rest. Then he sent forth a dove, but the dove returned, for the waters still covered the ground. After 7 more days, Noah sent the dove again. And the dove returned in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth. Then Noah knew the waters had abated from the earth. Hope took flight once more. In the 601st year of Noah's life, the earth was dry. And God said, "Come out of the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out every living thing, that they may breed and multiply upon the earth." And life began again, upon cleansed soil beneath open sky. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and offered burnt offerings of thanksgiving. And the Lord said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of man, nor will I again destroy all living things as I have done. While the earth remains seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease." The rain ended, the ark rested, and mercy spoke again. A covenant sealed in color and light, a promise for all generations. Genesis 6-8, the ark, the flood, and the promise.
And God blessed Noah and his sons, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth." The fear and dread of mankind fell upon every creature. God established a new order, and life began again upon cleansed ground. Then the Lord said, "I establish my covenant with you and with every living creature. Never again shall a flood destroy all flesh." And God set his bow in the cloud, a sign between himself and the earth, an everlasting covenant for all generations. Noah became a man of the soil and planted a vineyard. But in the quiet of his tent, weakness arose, and a moment of shame revealed the hearts of his sons. Ham, the father of Canaan, acted dishonorably toward his father. But Shem and Japheth covered their father with respect. When Noah awoke, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. May Japheth be enlarged, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem." These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, from whom the whole earth was populated. The sons of Japheth spread toward the coastlands, becoming the peoples of the isles, nations with their own tongues, lands, and families. From Ham came mighty peoples Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Through this line, cities and kingdoms arose. Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From Canaan came great tribes Sidon, Hate, the Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, and more. Their border stretched from Sidon toward Gerar, as far as Sodom, Gomorrah, and the plains beyond. From Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, came nations of the east, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. Through this line, the story of promise would one day rise. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, their nations, and their languages. From them, the nations spread across the whole earth. From covenant to curse, from one family to many nations, the world began again. Genesis 9-10, the covenant, the curse, and the nations.
They gathered as one, they spoke as one, and they raised a tower to heaven. But pride scattered the nations. And from the ruins of Babel, God prepared a new beginning. In a world divided, God called one man, "Leave your father's house, and I will show you a land." Through Abram, blessing would return to the nations. Promises made in the night, a covenant sealed in faith, a lineage chosen for light. A child of promise, born where hope seemed impossible. Isaac, laughter born from faith. And when the test came, Abraham lifted the knife, but God provided the sacrifice. 2 brothers, one blessing, a struggle that shaped a nation. And then came the dreamer, betrayed, broken, yet destined for greatness. What others meant for harm, God turned for good. From scattered nations to chosen families to dreams that saved generations, Genesis is the story of a God who brings promise out of chaos, purpose out of pain, and destiny out of dust. Genesis 11-50, the story continues.
Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. As the people journeyed east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people are one, and they all have one language. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he fathered Arphaxad, 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years and had other sons and daughters. Arphaxad fathered Shelah, Shelah fathered Eber, and the generations continued from father to son. After generations passed, Nahor fathered Terah, and Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. From the scattering at Babel to the calling of Abram, Genesis turns from human pride to divine promise. Genesis 11, the beginning of nations and the doorway to the promise.
The Lord said, "Leave your country, leave your people, leave your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." He didn't get a map. He didn't get a timeline. He only got a promise. "I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and through you all the families of the earth will be blessed." One voice, one promise, to a man named Abram. Abram was 75 years old when he heard and obeyed. He didn't argue about his age. He didn't negotiate for comfort. He gathered his wife Sarai, his nephew, Lot, their servants, their possessions, and he went, just as the Lord had told him. From the familiar land of Haran to the unknown land of Canaan, Abram walked by faith step after step, dust on his feet, promise in his heart. He passed through the land until he came to the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. There, in this foreign place, the Lord appeared to him and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." Surrounded by strangers, Abram heard a future no one else could see. So Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. Then he moved on, from place to place, pitching his tent, living as a traveler, but always pausing to build altars and call on the name of the Lord. His life became a journey marked by worship. But even in the land God promised, hard times came. A severe famine spread through the land, and food ran short. So Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while, because the famine in Canaan was very severe. As they approached Egypt, fear gripped Abram's heart. Sarai was beautiful. He was afraid the Egyptians might kill him to take her. So he said, "Tell them you are my sister, so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared." Faith and fear, wrestling in the same man. In Egypt, Sarai's beauty was noticed. She was taken into Pharaoh's house, and Abram was treated well because of her. But the Lord saw everything. Plague struck Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai, Abram's wife. What fear had twisted, God himself began to untangle. Pharaoh called Abram and said, "Why did you not tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She is my sister,' so that I took her to be my wife?" He returned Sarai to Abram and ordered them to leave. Abram left Egypt with Sarai, with Lot, and with many possessions. A man still learning that the God who calls is also the God who protects. Genesis 12 is the beginning of a story that stretches through nations and centuries. A call to leave, a promise to bless, a journey of faith with a God who sees, speaks, corrects, and never abandons his word.
Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev, traveling with his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot. They were not poor travelers. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock, silver, and gold. He returned to the place between Bethel and Ai, where he had first built an altar. There, Abram once again called on the name of the Lord. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, also had flocks, herds, and tents. But the land could not support them both. Their shepherds began to quarrel over grazing space. Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, or between your herders and mine, for we are close family. Is not the whole land before you?" Abram continued, "If you go to the left, I will go to the right. If you go to the right, I will go to the left." Abram chose peace over possession. Lot looked out and saw that the entire Jordan Valley was well watered, like the garden of the Lord. It looked prosperous and full of promise. So Lot chose the Jordan Valley and set out toward the east. He pitched his tents near the city of Sodom, though the people there were known for great wickedness. Abram remained in the land of Canaan. After Lot had gone, the Lord spoke to Abram once more. The Lord said, "Lift up your eyes and look from where you are north and south, east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your descendants like the dust of the earth. If anyone could count the dust, then your descendants could be counted." The Lord told Abram, "Go, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his tents and settled near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron. There he built an altar to the Lord, choosing worship, trust, and obedience.
In the days when kings ruled cities and power was secured by war, the land of Canaan stood between empires. For kings from the east, Peter Lamer of Elam, Tidal king of nations, Amraphel of Shinar, and Arioch of Elasa, formed a powerful alliance. For 12 years, the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zor served them. In the 13th year, they rebelled. So in the 14th year, the eastern kings returned. They struck down the Rephaim, the Zuzim, the Emim, and the Horites, leaving defeat in their wake. The battle reached the valley of Siddim, a land filled with tar pits. The kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and many fell. The enemy seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah. They also took Lot, Abram's nephew, and all that he had. One who escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew what had happened. When Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he armed 318 trained men, born in his household. By night, Abram divided his forces and attacked. The kings who had conquered nations were driven back. Abram brought back all the goods, and also rescued Lot and the people. After Abram returned, the king of Sodom came out to meet him, along with Melchizedek, king of Salem. Melchizedek, priest of God Most High, brought out bread and wine and blessed Abram. Abram gave him 1/10 of everything, honoring the God who had delivered his enemies into his hand. The king of Sodom offered riches, but Abram refused, so that no man could say, "I made Abram rich." Abram returned in peace, a warrior of faith, walking in covenant with God Most High.
Genesis 15 opens in the quiet after Abram's victories, when the noise of conflict fades and the soul begins to ask deeper questions. Then God speaks, not through rumor or distant report, but by vision, with a word meant to calm fear and anchor faith. After these things the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram. I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward." But Abram answers God honestly. He has wealth and security, yet one longing remains unfulfilled. He is still without a child. He speaks of the heir of his house and the ache of unanswered waiting, because promises feel most painful when time stretches long. God brings Abram outside, away from the limits of what he can measure, and points him to what only God can multiply. He tells Abram to look toward heaven and count the stars, if he is able. And God declares that Abram's offspring will be beyond counting. And Abram believed the Lord, and God counted it to him for righteousness. Then God draws Abram into a covenant moment, an ancient sign that the promise is not temporary, but sealed and sure. Abram remains there, guarding the offering, driving away birds of prey, holding the moment with patience and reverence. As the sun goes down, a deep sleep falls upon Abram, and a horror of great darkness comes over him. God reveals the future. Abram's descendants will be strangers in a land not their own, afflicted for many years. Yet God will judge that nation and bring his people out. And God promises Abram personal peace as well, that he will go to his fathers in peace, carried by God's faithfulness. When the sun has set and it is dark, A smoking furnace and a burning lamp passed between the pieces, God himself moving through the covenant. On that day, the Lord makes a covenant with Abram, declaring the land he will give, an inheritance anchored not in Abram's power, but in God's promise. Genesis 15 reminds us, God's promises do not rest on human strength. They rest on his faithfulness. And when he speaks, fear must bow.
Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. The years passed, and the waiting grew heavy. Sarai said to Abram, "Behold now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. Go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her." And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai, and Hagar conceived. And when she knew she was with child, her mistress became despised in her eyes. Sarai said unto Abram, "My wrong be upon thee," and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Abram answered, "Behold, thy maid is in thy hand, do to her as it pleaseth thee." And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, Hagar fled from her face. In the wilderness, by a fountain of water, the angel of the Lord found her. He said, "Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go?" "I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai." The angel of the Lord said, "Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands." Then the angel of the Lord declared, "I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction." And he said, "He will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. He will live hostile to his brethren, at odds with his kinsmen." Wherefore the well was called Bir Lahai Roi, the well of the living one who seeth me, the spring of the living one. Therefore she called the well, the spring of the living one, because she said, "Have I also here looked after him that seeth me?" And Hagar returned to Abram. And Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael.